Okonkwo, a renowned warrior and leader, lived in the Igbo village of Umuofia. He had 3 wives and many children, but none were as beloved as Ikamafuna, a young boy from the neighboring village of Mbeno. Ikamafuna was a young boy, around 10 to 12 years old, from the neighboring village of Mbeno. He was given to Umuofia as a sacrifice to atone for the murder of one of Umuofia's women, who was killed by a man from Mbeno. This was a common practice in Igbo culture, where a person from the offending village would be offered as a sacrifice to appease the gods and restore balance. Okonkwo, being a respected leader and warrior, was tasked with caring for Ikamafuna until the boy was old enough to be sacrificed to the gods. Initially, Okonkwo saw Ikamafuna as a mere object, a ward to be cared for until his eventual sacrifice. He didn't show much emotion or attachment to the boy. However, Okonkwo grew to love Ikamafuna like a son, and he became an integral part of the family. Ikamafuna was well loved by all the family members, and he was the most loved person in the family. He was intelligent, brave, and eager to please. Okonkwo saw great potential in him and taught him the ways of the Igbo people. Years passed, and the elders of Umuofia decided it was time for Ikamafuna to be sacrificed to the gods. Okonkwo was tasked with carrying out the deed, but he was torn between his duty and his love for the boy. On the day of the sacrifice, Okonkwo, Ikamafuna, and the elders of the land set out on the journey. Ikamafuna sensed that something was amiss and asked Okonkwo if he was going to be killed. Okonkwo tried to reassure him, but Ikamafuna was not convinced. When they reached the designated spot, Okonkwo instructed Nwoi, who was his son and also the closest friend to Ikamafuna, and who also wasn't aware of what was about to happen, to wait behind while he took Ikamafuna further into the forest. As they walked, Okonkwo's emotions grew more turbulent. He knew what he had to do, but he couldn't bring himself to do it. Suddenly, a voice behind him called out, "Okonkwo, do not kill him." It was Ogwefai Izudu, a respected elder. Then immediately the elders brought out their knives and cutlasses and began to cut Ikamafuna. Okonkwo turned his back, unable to watch. Ikamafuna cried out in agony, "Father, they have killed me," as he ran to Okonkwo for protection, with tears in his eyes, but Okonkwo drew out his machete and struck Ikamafuna down. In a cold bluey, the boy cried out, "Father, why?" with the sad tears and betray in his eyes as he slowly fell to the ground. The elders condemned Okonkwo's actions for killing the boy himself. Okonkwo disobeyed the elders' instructions and took it upon himself to kill Ikamafuna. Okonkwo's actions violated the sacred laws of the land, which dictated that the sacrifice should be carried out by the designated priests. Okonkwo immediately regretted his actions, knowing he had made a terrible mistake. The regret and guilt over killing a young innocent boy set off a chain of tragic events that ultimately led to his downfall. The elders condemned Okonkwo's actions, and Hin was exiled from Umuofia for 7 years. During his exile, Okonkwo's family struggled, and his relationship with his son Nwoi deteriorated. Nwoi became increasingly distant. After 7 years, Okonkwo returned to Umuofia, but he found that things had changed. The British colonizers had arrived, and the village was undergoing significant changes. Okonkwo struggled to adapt and eventually killed a British messenger, knowing it would lead to his own death. In a final act of defiance, Okonkwo took his own life, hanging himself from a tree. His story serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unchecked emotions, the importance of empathy, and the devastating consequences of cultural disruption. This story was part of a novel, Things Fall Apart, written by Chinua Achebe. I hope you enjoyed the story. Please follow us and share our video for more.